The homeowner had built the fence for privacy. Nothing extravagant, just tall enough to shield his backyard from curious eyes. Yet within days, a letter arrived from the HOA. They claimed the fence violated height regulations and ordered it cut down. He was frustrated but cautious, knowing how ruthless HOAs could be with fines. Still, he complied, lowering the panels to the required height. But as the trimmed fence stood half its size, the feeling of being exposed returned. Neighbors' windows overlooked his yard, and the once private space now felt like a stage. That's when he started planning. Instead of arguing, he turned to the HOA handbook. Line by line, he studied every rule, hunting for loopholes. There it was. Regulations on fence height, color, and placement. But nothing on yard decorations or structures not classified as fencing. His mind began to spin with possibilities. The HOA wanted to play games. He'd play smarter. He sketched designs, comparing them to the handbook again and again, ensuring not a single rule would be broken. Soon, an idea crystallized. Something outrageous, technically legal, and guaranteed to infuriate. The trimmed fence had only sparked the fuse. The real show was coming. Construction began quietly. Purchased supplies under the guise of routine landscaping projects. Curious neighbors watched deliveries pile up: wooden posts, lattice panels, and bright paint. What emerged over the next week was not another fence, but a towering row of giant wooden planters. Each planter rose taller than the original fence, filled with thick evergreens that grew lush and dense. And perched between them, ornamental trellises stretched even higher, adorned with climbing vines. The structure was decorative, not classified as fencing, and completely within the rules. His backyard once again disappeared behind an impenetrable green wall. The HOA noticed immediately. Their first reaction was smug certainty. This had to violate something. But as they flipped through their own handbook, dread set in. The structure was decorative, categorized as landscaping, plants, the trellises, even the high tall, technically allowed. What had been intended as a compromise was now far taller, thicker, and more intrusive than the original fence. The word spread quickly among neighbors, many of whom admired his ingenuity. Some laughed at the HOA's helplessness. But the board members were livid. They weren't just losing control. They were being mocked, and they knew it. Letters began arriving again. Only this time, they were vague, full of requests rather than orders. The HOA pleaded for him to reconsider, framing it as a matter of community harmony, but he ignored them. He had followed every rule in black and white, and they could do nothing. As days passed, the trellises grew more elaborate. Wind chimes, bird feeders, and decorative lanterns dangled from them, creating a whimsical fortress. Each addition was legal, yet each one deepened the HOA's humiliation. What they once called an eyesore was now a neighborhood landmark. By now, neighbors had started recording videos and sharing them online. Man Outsmarts HOA became a trending headline, and the story spread like wildfire. Millions viewed clips of the towering green wall and the HOA's flustered attempts to fight back. Commenters celebrated him as a hero, the ultimate underdog standing against petty authority. The HOA, meanwhile, grew desperate. They called emergency meetings, sought legal counsel, even floated the idea of amending the handbook. But it was too late. Public opinion was against them, and every move they made only fueled the ridicule. Their power was unraveling in real time. The homeowner, now an unwilling internet celebrity, leaned into his role. He kept his backyard pristine, ensuring no one could accuse him of neglect. He even hosted barbecues for supportive neighbors, their laughter echoing against the trellises that stood as monuments to defiance. The HOA sent inspectors, but they left defeated each time, unable to cite a single violation. The board's reputation sank lower with every failed attempt. And while they plotted behind closed doors, the neighborhood seemed to side with him. What began as a battle over a fence had become a symbol of resistance against overreach. Months later, the HOA finally gave up. Their silence was the clearest admission of defeat. The towering planters remained, lush and beautiful, far more impressive than any ordinary fence. The homeowner had not only regained his privacy, but also turned the HOA's pettiness into their greatest embarrassment. Online, the saga became a classic example of don't mess with clever neighbors. The HOA's once feared authority had been reduced to a punchline, while the homeowner's backyard thrived in peace. In the end, the fence they demanded torn down had been replaced with something far taller. Far worse for them, and perfectly legal.